Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, glad to help. So, did you get to read through any of the comments that I made on there?
I did. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, I was
Not,
just, as you saw my paperwork that I sent you, I'm just lost.
hey, we can get you there. That's why I said we can get you there though easily. So,
Well, I appreciate it more than you know.
yeah. Okay, let me pull up what I sent you real quick.
Okay.
Have you set it where I can share my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, is that? I may have to go. So I'm using Nick's computer, and he doesn't have Word on his. Let me see if it'll pop up on Docs. I may have to.
Well, would it be okay if I pulled it up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
You want the one with the chapter 4 comments or which one?
Yeah, it's like the Word document. Yeah.
Okay.
Are y'all all virtual for your classes that you're teaching?
Well, most of us, most of it is virtual. There are still some, kind of like yoga classes or, some physical ed classes. They might have to meet,
Yeah.
but they have to do it with only a certain amount of attendance. They can't use if you got a 35 member class, you can't get everybody in there
Right.
and separate 6 feet. You know, and
I
so
got you. Yep, I understand.
so some of those classes they have to really manipulate to get have a safer class.
Yeah.
But by and large, yes, we are virtual. How about y'all?
We've got kids. Teachers are doing both right now. They've got kids that are virtual and face to face, and teachers are having to teach both, and it's crazy.
Hey, I know
It's
Kay
crazy.
wants to pull her hair out sometimes too because she has both.
It's crazy.
Can you see that
There's
screen
no
okay?
good option. They went with the option that was best for kids
Right.
because, if we didn't have that option, kids were going to have to lose electives and do all kinds of stuff because you just couldn't have a teacher teach everything. But it's been crazy hard on teachers. Man.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's not only hard for people at school and those who teach or who are in administration, but I mean, it's hard on parents and guardians, and I mean, it's just
Yeah.
been rough on everybody.
It's hard everywhere. And right now, with the numbers going up and all the quarantines,
Mm,
it's really hard because they don't have enough subs. I mean, it's really not the kids, the number of kids that are out,
right.
it's the number of adults that are out just from quarantine. Like one of our schools has almost 50% of their teachers that are out, and there's not enough subs to cover those classes, so it's just a mess. Mm.
Well, I'm thankful when I go to my office, there's nobody in the building, and
Yeah.
it's just me and the quiet, and I love that. Now,
Yeah.
and just because of you and your help, I may be able to finish 4 and 5.
Hey, there we go. We're going to
So,
get you there.
thank you so
So,
much.
yeah.
Can
All
you
right.
see?
If you want to scroll down to um, kind of where we talk. Okay, so question run right there, the demographics. Were you able to see down closer to the bottom where I've started like the demographic table?
Right here?
Yes. Yeah. So right here, that's really all they're looking for on that is they just want a table with kind of the number for each category and then the percentage. So you can just add columns down like underneath the area of specialization for your other like tenure, yes or no, so just all of your demographic data, you can just add tables underneath that.
Okay, and the percentage, how did you get the percentage? Is this just based on those who took the uh, survey?
Your total of 69. Yeah, just
Right.
take the number divided by 69 and that's your percentage,
Oh,
right?
okay. Well, I can
Yeah.
do that. And so I guess you said
Yeah.
this would be best. This would be better, like on chapter 1 or 2, where I have it, where I'm describing my variables. I have another
Right.
chart that lists this type as well, but this is just done a little more, I guess, a little more rigorous. I have, a little more to it than I had previously done.
Yeah.
But
And I don't know if, like, for this right here, I don't know that I would include it on this part.
okay,
Um, Really, I would wait to describe that more in for research question 2.
okay,
Just so really, I would take off all of that, and like what I said there, like some of the like those technographic characteristics that you had right there,
right,
like some of those may need a little more explanation, because what you're going to do after you have that table with all the participants, you're just going to briefly put it in paragraph form,
okay,
so when you get to that question, have they used it before, you might just briefly put a sentence, what that stands for, what that, just kind of explaining it.
okay,
So that's what I would do. Like I said, just carry on with how I did the percentages in the table 1 at the top.
okay.
Okay. Research question 2. Can you pull up the data?
On the Excel chart,
Yes.
I think this is the one you gave me.
Yeah, I added that. Go back to the very first page, the very first sheet. Yeah, right there on data.
Okay,
Okay, actually, click the Q1 to 35 first. Let me show you something that was on there. Okay, so see, like you calculated mean, median, and mode right there.
right, yes, ma'am.
But really, what you calculated was like the mean of how many said each number, not the actual mean for that question
Oh,
on
okay,
that part. So those that, like where I have it in red right there, those numbers aren't really out. That's not really your mean, median, and mode.
okay,
That is just like, because all that's doing is taking, like, for that column B right there, 3 people said
Right.
irrelevant, 18 said true. That 8 is an average of how many respondents you had, not actually the average of their concern for question 1.
oh, okay,
So if you'll go back to the data and scroll down.
this
Yes,
is
okay, so right there, that's actually your average, your median, and your mode for each of those questions.
so. What did you do different that I didn't do?
Okay, so you have to look at all of the respondents, because really, like, what this is you just did it, like, if 18 people said 2, that's what you were calculating the average of, is how many people chose each one. But it doesn't tell you what the average number on the scale was. So all I did was calculate the average of all of the responses, where what you had calculated was the average number under each question.
Okay,
Like what you're saying, what your 8 that you had over there, that's saying an average of 8 people picked the same number. I don't know which number they picked,
right,
but an average of 8 people picked a number. Where
Okay.
this is telling you the average of all of your responses was 4.6. So out of
Okay.
the 69 people that did the survey, the average response is 4.6.
So did you highlight just this one row to get
Right, if
that
you
mean
click
for
on
that?
4.6 right there, yeah, click on the 4.6, and it'll show you the formula. Like I just did an average of all the under Q1.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
see, I thought that's what I was doing when I did that for
Right.
that question 1, but I did it just based on the responses.
See, like right there, right where you
Right,
have it
down
open
below,
there,
yeah.
like where you did your count.
Right.
That's what you're at. So see, like you have 3, 18, 5, 5, 6, 15, and 8. What you're saying is an average of 8 people picked the same one.
See,
That's
I thought
the average you
I
were
thought I was
finding.
going to get the same thing that you got, and now I
Yeah,
see.
that you can do it from there, but what you have to do on your data, you would have to multiply 3 by 1, because 3 people said 1.
Oh,
18 times 2, you would have to do a weighted average to do it that way.
oh, okay. Like put money signs in front to weight it. Is that what they do?
Not necessarily. No, you would just have, like, you have to multiply 3 by the number of 1 respondents, 18 by the number of people that said 2, and
Oh,
then you take that sum and divide by 69.
Oh, okay. Well,
So,
I'm glad you know that. I'd have never
yeah,
figured that out.
no, you're good. So there's where you would find, like, for question number 2, the one that's the biggest concern, you would just go find which one had your highest average across your 35 questions. Because
Okay.
go back to the Word document, let's read your actual research question 2. Okay, what's your actual wording for research question 2? Can you scroll up?
What is this one?
Yes. Okay, so here's my question for research question 2. Can you scroll back up to the top part where you actually just have your question listed?
Sure.
Okay. So what is the most intense concern? Okay, so here's my question on that. Like, you talk about the 7 core concerns, but you have 35 questions. So
Right.
you're not doing it, which is the greatest concern of those 35. Did you categorize those questions? So that was my, do different questions fall under the different concerns? How did you do that part?
Well, let's see if I can. Let me find that for you. And I have one more I'm going to pull up and show you. I'm sorry it's taking so long.
You're good.
Okay, these are like the questions based on each stage.
Okay, that's exactly what I needed to know right there. Yes.
And so this tells me that, those who answered question 3 were in this stage 0, which is
Okay.
unconcerned, unrelated. And
Okay.
this is what it is referring to out beside the number.
Okay. Perfect. This is what I was hoping you had. Can you send that to me?
Absolutely.
Can you email that to me, and then I can go back and look at your data and show you how to rearrange the data, because really what you want is you want to average those 5 questions that are under stage 0. You
Oh,
want the average of that, because that'll tell you how concerned people are at stage 0. And then if you take the average of all of those 5 questions under stage 1, so that's what I needed to know, is how you grouped your questions.
okay. Well, I
Yes.
will
So
send that.
send
I will send that to
that.
you.
Perfect. Then, because I was like, 35 questions don't make the 7. So that's what I couldn't figure out, is how we were going to lump the questions to make your 7.
Well, the 7 are basically based on how they responded from 0 to 7, and that's what in this picture. Let's see. This one is like another example of trying to show that based on the 7-point Likert scale from irrelevant to very true of me now. This
Right.
just basically shows you how it breaks down with the 7 core concerns.
Right.
And then, even though there's no graphs or charts on this one, that's what I tried to do when I was working on the chart. Let's
Right.
see, wrong way. like when you see that I have it right here, that's what I'm trying to do is break down those 7 stages as you see on the
Yeah.
left, or the 8, I don't know, 7 or 8. I guess
Yeah.
it's 7. And that's what I was trying to break it down towards.
Right. So here's what I would tell you. Even at this, you don't really have to get to this stage of it where you know how many said this, because really what you care about is the total average of it. So like go back to the data tab at the bottom, because really you don't need this where you know how many. So what we're going to do, let's just say, I know this isn't the case, but let's just say questions 1 through 5 were the stage 0.
Okay.
So all of those apply to stage 0. So I would want to find the average of those. So what you would want to do from here is you take that appendix that you just showed me that said stage 0 is question 1 through 5. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Whichever questions apply to stage 0, you want to group all those together and find the average of all of those questions. You know, did people say for the questions in stage 0, yes, that really applies to me? You
Right.
know, so that when you lump your questions by stage and do the average, that'll tell you which stage is the biggest concern, which will answer your question 2.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, I think that's when I was doing these, and I broke them down. Well, this is by demographics, but
Right. And see, that's, if you look right there, go back, to which page? I added the percentage. Go back like to one that I already worked on. See, like right there, technographic, it'll be real easy. Like right there in the percentage column, you
Right.
can just see, if you click like on where it says 4%, all you do is take the number that said agriculture divided by 69, and I just formatted that box as a percentage.
oh, okay.
And so you can do that under the bottom for each of your demographics.
Oh, okay. So just divide it by
The number of
that number.
respondents, right? Each answer, like 10 out of 69 were business teacher, 29 were higher ed teachers. So,
See, I just, I was over here trying to play with it, and I don't
yeah,
know that I accomplished anything, but and this is
yeah,
what I was doing with this chart as well. I was trying to get the same thing that you're talking about, but I just wasn't. Things weren't working right. It was just basically
right,
like an average of each column, and it
right,
wasn't a specific stage. You see what I'm
right.
saying? And
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
and that's probably what you have down below, the correct percentage. I don't know, but
I don't think I did anything on this page. I
okay.
don't think
I
I
thought you
was.
did something in the red there. I don't know what that is. What that is? Maybe that's something I did and didn't realize it. But
I don't know what that is. I don't think I did anything on that page.
okay, and
Okay,
this is what
well,
I was trying to do here as well. I guess it's just I was trying to get there,
you'll
but
probably get the same results because percentages represent the number that said that. So, but here's where you have to look, like, did you, because see, like your Likert scale isn't really what a Likert scale in combination with which questions go under each stage.
okay,
Because you really can't just say that that is stage 0 right there itself, because that's only the number of people that answered a 1.
right,
But that may be a question under stage 0. Or it might be a question, people might have said a 1 on stage 0, but they also might have said a 1 on stage 6
right,
of your concerns.
right.
Does that make sense? So that's why you've got to group your questions by how you did on that appendix,
Oh,
and
okay,
then we'll take an average of all of those, and then you'll be able to say, it very well may come out that self is the highest, but your number that you have will represent all of that.
okay.
Okay? So, all right, let's go back to the Word document. I just want to make sure you have a good grasp of where we're going.
Okay. Then you said something about the predictive here on question
Yeah,
4.
okay, hold on. go back up to, scroll back up, because that was just talking about question 2. So that's how we're going to do, just a little bit. Scroll down just a little bit. Okay, so question 1 is just the demographics. We know how to do that. We can do that. That's just the table and the chart finding the percentages. Okay, so question 2 is of the 7 core concerns. So that's where we're going to group all of those questions based off of that and then find the average. So we'll be able to answer that. And then, so now here's the same thing. So on question 3, are there statistically significant differences in relation to independent variables? And in the 7 core concerns. Okay, so this is where, so now what's going to happen for 3. Okay, once we group all the questions together, that's going to be your data for this. Okay, so once we, like, all of the questions, because that's where I couldn't completely finalize it, because I was doing it off the 35 questions, but it's really not, because really what you're going to be doing is 7 sets of questions. Okay. So for
is that what that chart's going to help you with?
Do what?
Is that what that chart you want me to email you will help you with?
Yes, because then we'll be able to group your data. Because like on your spreadsheet, really we don't need 1 through 35 in that order. Really what I need is, I need question 1, 8, 12, 15 that all have to do with stage 0.
Oh, okay.
You need to group your data by the stages.
Based on the stage rather than by the response.
It's not just numerical 1 through 35. Now we need to take that data, and everything that's stage 0 needs to be together, and then everything that's stage 1, those questions all need to be together. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then for statistical significance, here's how, if you'll go back to the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, and then go to the last page. I started one on this, the gender. We should keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so gender and questions. Okay, so here's where I did on this. If you'll scroll down to the bottom. Okay, now we're going to regroup this. Okay, so really we're only going to have 7. But I was just showing you what, here's how it would work. And see that link right there?
Yes.
There's a link that, because when I did this, you know, there weren't as many programs that just did all the math for you. We had to buy the old school SPSS. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So what this is right here is the calculator that's going to do it. So to determine statistical significance, you have to run an ANOVA test right here.
Okay.
Okay? So go back to the Excel spreadsheet, and I'll kind of walk you through how I did this one. Okay, so right here, what you do is you have male and female, right?
Right.
So what you do is, if you'll scroll up a little bit in the data, okay? So what I did was you take all the data that was answered by males. So I just copied everything for question 1, how males answered question 1, and I put that in the treatment 1, because that's saying how males did it. So copy all of that. Yeah. And then if you go back to that web page.
You put that in there?
So that's treatment 1. That male is your treatment. So that's your variable 1 that you're looking at. And then you go back to your data, and everything, how women answered that question, will be your treatment 2. So what you're trying to see, is there a difference in how males and females answered this question?
Okay.
So when you copy all the females.
So what do I hit to get the copy bars?
It already copied it, right? So now go down and copy the female numbers.
Well, I was just trying to get it off so it wouldn't be a part of it. All I know is to do that. So, come here.
Yes.
Stop.
So what we'll do now is really, we will do everything for stage 1. We'll go for concern 1. So, because right now this is only question 1.
Right.
And what we will do is everything under that concern. So all 5 questions that had to do with stage 0, we'll put that all under treatment 1 for males, how males answered these 5 questions that are under stage 0.
So we'll break it down by stages rather than every
Correct.
response by.
Correct. It's not individual questions anymore. We're never going to look at individual questions anymore because
Okay.
your research questions are on the stages.
Right.
So we got to take every question that's under this stage. Oh, my husband's getting phone calls.
Uh-oh. You take that if you need to.
No, it's Nick. I'm on Nick's computer.
Oh, okay.
And so when his phone rings, it pops up here. Okay, and so see right there the significance level.
Yes.
You may or may not care about this, but I'm going to explain it to you because when you have to defend it, they're going to ask you questions about this, okay? So the significance level right there, the 0.05, means that there's a 95% chance that it's up to chance.
Okay.
Okay, which is basically what you're saying. If it's not 95% is really up to chance. It really doesn't make a difference.
Right.
Okay, there's only a 5% chance that it is
significant.
That males and females answer differently. So if you'll click calculate right there. Okay, so see it says success, so scroll down, and it gives you a whole bunch of numbers, but right there, it tells you an F number. I'll be totally honest with you, I don't know what the F number means.
Right.
It's one of those things, you have to put it in. People that know all the technical stuff, they would care what the F number is, but right there in red, that P value, that is what is important right there. So what this says is that 0.94, and you can look, your significance is 0.05. So right here, there is no difference because you look right above there at the mean. You see in that chart above you,
okay.
The mean for males under column 1 is 4.6486, and females answered with an average of 0.46875. There is almost zero difference between those two means. That's what it's telling you. So right there, it is not a statistically significant difference. You can't determine how males or females are going to answer question 1 based off of their gender. Okay? So, but if you go back to your Excel spreadsheet, okay, so see, I ran some of them. So you can see right there, oh, hit undo, because there you go. Okay, so I showed you right here, like the p-value for column 1 was 0.9445. Not statistically significant. That says there's only a 6% chance that you could determine how they were going to answer. However, if you look at like column column E. Okay? So column E right there, when I ran that same regression, you got 0.0354, which means there's a 97% chance that you could determine basically that there was a difference. So that one is statistically significant. Okay? That one right beside it, 0.06, it's not, because that's greater than your 0.05, meaning I was giving it a 5% margin of error. So if it's a less than 5% chance, we do say it's statistically significant. If it's not, and so that's how we're going to run these. Once we group all of those, we'll run every answer for stage 0 compared to male and female.
Okay.
And then that'll tell us.
Perfect.
Okay. And then go to the next page. The next sheet at the bottom.
I'm sorry.
You're good. Okay. So for age range, and now this is why we ran that, because notice there's treatment 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on that ANOVA test, because now we'll be able to do the same thing. So if you scroll up, so we're going to do the same thing. Whatever questions fall under stage 0, we're going to group those by this. So that's what you're going to take. It's like you're going to have to do this for all of you. So see, you have your age range, right? So I'm going to take let's just say questions 1 through 4 were my questions that dealt with stage 0. I'm going to copy all of that data and put it as treatment 1. And this will be interesting. I don't know. Let's copy and paste. I don't think that it'll work with it being the different columns. We may have to reformat it where it'll do, if you scroll down, it'll let you reset that. There you go. I don't know that it'll let you paste different columns like that. We'll have to see if it lets you paste. We'll see if it'll run. Go back to your Excel spreadsheet. Well, you have to give it 2 value. You have to give it 2 treatments.
Oh, okay. And copy this?
Yeah, so pick that same data for 40 to 49. Pick all the questions 1 through 4 and 40 to 49. There you go. Click all those, and we'll see if it runs the data. If it runs the data with spaces, that'll help us out tremendously, but if not, we'll just have to reformat it. Okay, so calculate that and let's see what happens. Error. Yeah, I didn't think it would let us run your data. Okay, so all that means is we'll just have to put it in one single column, but that's easy to do.
Okay.
So then we'll just have all the questions like that. Okay, but that's the same concept. So for each one of your demographics that you're going to look at, you have to run an ANOVA test like this.
Okay.
Okay, and so then all you're looking for really is the p-value. Is the p-value greater or less than 0.05? And then that will determine up at the top
the value of the core based on that core value.
Go up to question 3. So that'll tell you, is there a statistically significant difference? So if we were just looking at question 1, we would say for gender, there was a statistically significant difference in question such and such. We don't know yet whether there will be or won't be for any of the stages, but that's what you'll look at. If the p-value is greater than 0.05, it's not statistically significant. If it's less than that, then it is.
Okay.
So that's what you're going to look for on question 3. But once we get the data rerun, I'll do a few of them for you so that you can see how it works. And then from there, you're just putting it in treatment 1 and treatment 2. But like for your question about what department they're in. Well, that had, I think 5 departments, 6 departments?
Yeah, I think 5 or 6, yes.
Okay, so each one of those would just go under, like for that age one right there, is you would have to put all of them in at the same time. We wouldn't just run 2. Anybody that was in age 20 to 29 would go in treatment 1. 30 to 39 would go treatment 2. Each of your ages, you'd put them all in at the same time, and then it will run your p-value based off of those.
Okay.
Okay, so like if you go back to the Excel spreadsheet. I can't remember if I ran these or not. Scroll down. Okay, so yeah, I did. So for question 1, it was not statistically significant. Oh, just hit the undo button and it'll undo what you just did right there.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Well, it undid what you hit it and it'll delete it. There you go. Okay.
Sorry.
So question 1, no, you're good, was not statistically significant, but question 2 was statistically significant, meaning based on a respondent's age, you could predict what level they were going to answer at. I don't know if that's higher or lower, but based off of the differences in the average for groups, you could determine, and it's probably going to be older people are more concerned with something than, or vice versa,
Right.
So that's the difference in them right there, because the question number 1 is not because that p-value was greater than 0.05. Question 2 is because it's less.
Okay.
So we'll just run all the data based off of those questions, and then it is just yes or no. Is there statistically significant? Yes, there is for these questions. No, there's not for the others. And so what we'll run is we'll make a table. So when we'll have stage 0, and we will put what the F value was and what the P value was, just in a chart form, and then you'll talk about those in paragraph form, which ones were statistically significant, which ones weren't, and vice versa.
Okay.
For each of the stages. And then question 4. Okay, what independent variables faculty are predictive of dependent and dependent value? Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Once we have your data, we just run a linear regression based off of that.
Okay.
And so I didn't even want to get into that yet because it's not harder. Because I wasn't sure 2 or 3, it was the stages of concerns that I was confused about.
Okay.
But right there, all we'll do is run a regression analysis.
Well,
meaning,
if you would just allow me to work on after you send me the new stuff for me making sure I get 1, 2, and 3 down right, then
perfect.
we can
Then
always go into
Yep.
you showing me what I need to do for 4.
Yep, perfect.
And I'll send that to you, and you can say yes or no, or start all over.
No, yeah.
So-
But as long as you can see where we go from that, that's how you're going to run. Question 2 is just looking at those averages, but you got to average it based off of the
Stages.
questions,
Okay.
not individually. So we'll just go back and find another average for each of the groups of questions. Then the highest one is going to be your highest concern, and then for question 3, you're going to run a ANOVA for those grouped questions
Okay.
for each subcategory.
Well, I kind of figured we were, because when I was doing 3, that was part of what I saw me having to do to answer my questions.
Right.
Even though I didn't know a whole lot about what I was putting in there,
Yeah.
what you're saying rings true, and
Yes.
it was just something that I should be doing. I'm still trying to learn it, and
Hey,
you're just a
I
lifesaver.
was the same way when I wrote my dissertation, and I was a math major.
Oh,
but
wow.
he started talking about stuff, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because statistics is not real math. I tell everybody.
No, it's not. It's just a beast. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just,
it is.
it's like
But-
totally left field, but I understand it's part of social educational research. I understand that.
Yeah,
But-
and so that's all you're looking at is the p-value. When you run
Okay.
that, write down what in your column, put what the f value is, because I think we'll have to put that in our table. I need to go back and look at mine because I can't remember if I put them in a chart form or if we just talked about them in paragraph form. But we can
Okay.
look at it and see. But I want to say in parentheses, I had to put what the f value was like right after it. So.
Okay.
We'll
Well-
look and see, but if you have it on your Excel spreadsheet, just go ahead and put the F value on there just in case, so we don't have to rerun the data. But yeah, we can go from there. So resend it to me, and I'll kind of look at it and help you figure out how to group it. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I was saying, do you need anything else but that chart?
No, just the chart, and then if you want to, like on your Excel spreadsheet, if you already want to go ahead and like group all those questions, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. With the p-values and whether or not.
Well, here's what I would do. This is if we were doing all 35 questions separately, which we really don't need, but it's gonna make it easier if you go back to your page 1. Go back to your very first page. Okay. Here's what I would do so that you don't mess up that data. I would clone that page, duplicate that page,
Okay.
duplicate your data page.
Is there an
Watch
easy
this.
way to do this, or do I just have
go
to?
down to where it says data down on the bottom on the sheet.
Okay.
Duplicate. If you right click, you can just make a copy. See where it says move or copy?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And then,
And then right there at the bottom, you want to say, just leave it right there. It'll
Oh.
go right next to it. Just click that create a copy button. Down. It's right underneath where all the
okay.
demos are. There you go. Yep. Click OK.
oh, okay.
And now here's what we get. Right click on that. Let's rename it. rename, do stages grouped. That way you don't lose your original data. You know what I'm saying, when we're trying to move these.
Okay.
But if you will take this and regroup all your questions. Like right now it's in numerical order 1 through 35. But if you will cut and paste into the order for your stages, like everything that's stage 0. So I think it was like what, question 3, 14. If you will put all those together so that we know that's stage 0, and then
So stage
1.
0, just set up each question that aligns those 5 in separate columns.
Right, it's still going to look just like this. You're going to have 35 columns of questions, but everything that's stage 0 will be your first 5 columns.
Okay.
Everything that's stage 1 will be your next 5.
Okay.
And then that'll be easier to clone, because we're going to have to clone it a bunch of times, because I need to do it for gender, and then we need to do it for age, and then we need to do it for all of your demographic groups.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's what we'll do from there.
So not only the 35 questions, but I need to do it for the demos too.
Well, once you do it from this page, it's easy just to copy and paste into your, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But if you'll get a master list that has them in the correct order,
Okay.
it's easier to copy and paste it.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
I will be working on that, and I'll also send you that chart you wanted.
Yeah, if you'll resend me this now, because it's got, once you get them grouped, once you put them in the right order, and you don't have to do all the demographics pages for these. If you'll just send me this with
Okay,
these
based on the stages. Okay.
right. But then you can go ahead, you can finish out your demographic percentages. You know how to do that now, right?
Well, let me make sure.
Okay.
Okay,
perfect.
so here's my first demographic question.
Right.
So on here, you want me to go and take these 2 and put it in the chart?
Well, I've already started those, like on the Word document. I think I got through the department that they were in.
Are you talking about this one?
Like, correct.
So
yeah, I started.
I just need to do the rest of them and set it
Correct.
up in this chart.
Correct. And
Okay.
just add, because that's really a table. If you know what I'm saying, like if you were to, I just took out all the borders. You only do the top and the bottom border, but it's just a table. So you can highlight and add rows at the bottom.
Okay.
And just put in your next demographic information.
Okay. And so you want all the rest of the demographics in here?
We can choose. You can do one of 2 ways. You can do all of your demographics in one chart, which, since you have, now that I'm double thinking this, since you have so many, it might be easier to do a gender chart and then just say 1 or 2 lines about gender, and then do age range, and do, you know what I'm saying? It might be easier to split them up and talk about them individually, since you have so many, because if not, it's going to be a whole page of a chart.
And so they would have to try to figure out, well, what is he talking about in this paragraph based on this chart?
Right.
Okay.
So I don't know. We can play with that and see what it looks like and see how many.
Well,
so that's a good effect.
Well, if I do the whole chart, then I could just, break it down each paragraph and say based on gender.
Right.
And so I could show them where I'm coming from out of the chart.
Perfect.
And then, and so on.
Yep.
Now, there may be some things that, if you could tell me what I need to put in each paragraph, like, make sure I let them know, based on this, there were more male than female.
Oh.
What all you would put in the paragraph to explain it properly.
And really, most of them are going to be self-explanatory. And that's what I was talking about. The only ones that and I think it was one of the comments that I put on there. For the most part, it's going to be self-explanatory.
Okay.
You might just say, data was split fairly evenly between male and female with this percentage. But you might talk, age range. There, the percentages were significantly higher for range, for 50 and, just something to have some words about what's in your chart,
Okay.
majority of, and I can see right here I had a typo for that, the higher ed. There's no way that can be 3%. I just must have typed that wrong.
Okay.
That's your biggest group. So go back and
So it's probably 33%.
Yeah, go back to the Excel spreadsheet and it'll show you. I think that was demo question.
Right here.
Yeah, 42%. I don't know. Oh, I took the answer option 3. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, it should be 42%.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if you'll just do that, find your percentages for each one of those. Yeah, that really should be 42%.
Oop.
Yep.
I guess I ought to
It's
take off
it's
the.
just tracking your changes. On the review, if you don't want to see like everything that I did, hit the review button up at the top.
Right, and just take off the track changes.
Well, yeah, because you don't care what the trend. But right here, if up on all markup,
Uh-huh.
up at the top, change that to simple markup. And then you'll just see my comments, which will make it easier. You'll just see mine and Dr. Smith's comments.
Okay. Perfect.
So, yeah.
Well, I will get that to you, and I will also send you my the new updated Excel chart,
Perfect.
amongst other things that need to be on there. But it's a good start anyway.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. And you don't know how much your time means to me, Miss Lesley.
Hey, glad to help you. I know how much it helped me to have mine, and my professor was great. Like I did this, I had to do this with him. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know what it is you want me to do. So I completely get it and completely understand. So.
Well, here is how my chair does it. I tell her, I don't know how to make heads or tails out of this, chapter 4. I need your help. She sends me a dissertation. Here, do it like this. That doesn't help me.
No.
Because I've looked at 47 million dissertations trying to figure this out.
You're writing your chapter 2, and it doesn't help you understand
No.
what you need to do with your data.
So it aggravates me, and you don't know. You're just a blessing from the Lord. You don't know how much I've needed.
I'm glad to help you. Like I said, I had to do it when I did mine, and happy to help. So.
Well, I will get those to you immediately, and I just thank you for your time.
Glad to do it. So,
whenever you have a chance to get that done, I'll be looking for your email.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks,
Thank you, ma'am. Tell Nick I said hi too.
I will do that.
Hey, have a great evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.